Hey guys, it's Kelsey and I'm back with another scrapbooking process video, and today we have a double page using a beloved paper pad. This paper pad is the paper pad I used for my very first process video ever. It's very sentimental for that reason and it's just been in my stash and I use it once in a blue moon. But like I said in my past couple videos, I'm trying to stash bust this month. We are using these 12 by 12 paper pads and I need to get these ones that are like almost dead. I need to use them and stop holding on to them for sentimental reasons. So I have 6 photos here that I am spreading out across this double page spread. I don't know if I did it already. I think I did. A couple of you had mentioned to maybe try washi taping my two 12 by 12s together. That way I could just line everything up as one big piece. So I thought that'd be a fun thing to try. And it was really interesting to work with at first, but I ended up needing to see that seam in order to line things up. So I ended up having to cut apart the washi anyways. But it was really fun working on this like 24 by 12 spread where I'm just working on one project, and then they had mentioned you just cut it in the middle at the end. But here's where I kind of run into some issues once I start wanting to layer things and I need things to line up exactly at the seam. I really ended up needing these pages to be separate, so I ended up cutting them apart. But I pretty much have these black papers as my templates, and I just know I need to fill it up with pattern paper. So I have this nice pink from this collection. This is Die Cuts with a Few Peachy Evergreen, and this green tree paper, and I thought that pink and that green looked really nice together, and I think that would be a nice background to build with layers. So that's what I decided to create my backgrounds for both of these pages. Like I like to do when I have a double page, I just really want one big layer at least to run over both pages so it really connects them and you can see that it's the same page even though it's on two 12 by 12s. So I'm just getting all of this glued down. I pretty much know I want my photos just to be in one big block in the middle of this double page spread and then just embellish and layer around those, but I definitely want them grouped together. I had 6 4x6s, but I did trim down 2 of them to be a 3x4. Is that right? Yes. So it doesn't take up so much space. But this layout is for the Horsemen's Association at UGA. I think I mentioned this a couple of times, but if you hadn't seen those videos, we host a horse show once a year to benefit the Georgia Equine Rescue League, and it's called the Bulldog Classic. It's the annual Bulldog Classic since we do it once a year, and that's what these photos are about. So you see me in the upper left hand corner. This is very, very early in the morning when we first got there to make sure everything was set up and everything, and we were there late the night before to get everything set up. And then the picture right below that is the club members, and again I just blocked their faces for courtesy reasons in case they don't want to be on YouTube. And then to the right you see one of our beautiful little jumps that we set up with some faux flowers. You see our champion and champion reserve ribbons there that look super fancy. I've never won a ribbon that was that fancy before. I was kind of jealous of the participants because they look nice. And then to the right you see 2 of our little champions. The girl on top, she is a boss. Her horse and her beautiful, the way they jumped over these jumps, amazing. She won a lot of blue ribbons and she came out a champion that day. But everyone was in love with this little girl that's in the bottom right hand corner and her pony. They rocked the house in their division, and she ended up with quite a few blue ribbons and champion ribbons as well. So I wanted to make sure I got both of those on here because we had quite a few barns come and participate, but these 2 were just such a joy to watch. I wanted to make sure I documented them. So I'm just trying to get some layers down here. I'm going through all my scraps and trying to see what I can pull in. I thought it would be nice to pull in a little bit of metallic with these white and I think it's rose gold foil. I'm just doing a little scallop border detail here, so there's a little bit of interest. Everything is already looking very blocky, so I'm trying to break it up a little bit with these decorative punches and trying to change the shape of a couple things so everything doesn't have these super square corners. So I think this helps a little bit. But I want to make sure I have some elements that just stretch across both pages edge to edge. So I think having this scallopy piece running behind all these layers helps with that. But a lot of this is just lining things up and trying to make sure I have the same element on both pages just so everything is very balanced. Again, I'm using computer paper to mat these with because it was already very close size, and I just wanted these photos to have like a skinny white mat around all of them so they looked like they were all matted together. So that's all I'm doing now is getting the white matted, and I'll get those glued down. I'm trying to remember what I did next. I forget what order I did this in. I have 5 voiceovers to do today, and I'm trying to remember what order I did everything in as I look at all of these scrapbook pages. But yeah, I'm just trying to layer with scraps. I'm trying to use this paper pad, and I still can get some more layouts from that paper pad, but this really helped use up a chunk of them. Because I pretty much used 2 12x12s, and then everything else is just scraps from the scrap bin. This is another scrap. It was a really awkward triangle shape because I used it for one of those really cool 4-section, like, I don't know like how to even explain it, but it was left over from, I think it was a Texas page from when we went to Waco. But I thought it was nice because it added all of the colors from the collection in, so I'm just tucking those on either corner of these photo collages, and I think that looks really cool. I didn't think I would like it at first, but then I felt compelled to kind of finish off creating a mat, since I didn't like how the corners ended with these irregular shapes. I don't know. So I end up with kind of a patchworky looking frame around all the photos, but it uses up scraps, so I'm fine with it. So yeah, I'm just trying to fill in the gaps now between where those scraps ended. So again, just pulling in some more scraps to try and fill it in. And I figured because the multicolored piece I already layered had torn edges, so I'm just tearing the edges of this green piece as well, but I'm gonna tuck that on top and bottom of the openings for the frame just to complete the frame, and then I'll layer up a little behind that too. But I just didn't like how the multicolored scrap looked cool, but then it created more problems than I think it solved. So I'm just trying to do something that kind of makes my eye a little happier, but it still kind of turns out as a weird frame. But yeah, just getting things glued down, and then I will finish out this frame here. I really do like the introduction of the yellow I have on the bottom, because there's some yellow in the ribbons there, so I like that that pulls it in. And I'm kind of thinking I want my title to be yellow, so I wanted to make sure I got a scrap of one of the yellow pattern papers on here. But for right now, I'm just trying to figure out this frame. This frame was a headache for me to try and figure out, but I think this works out okay. It's a weird frame, but whatever. It uses scraps up, so I guess I'm fine with it. So I really am trying to figure out what I do next, but I don't know, so I'm just going to wait and see with you guys. I know I just continuously go back to the scrap pile, but this is another page though. I know I've said it on the past couple, but like I don't have embellishment for this collection, so I'm just trying to really dig into the scraps of the paper pad to find things I can cut into embellishments. So yeah, but I did have a separate piece of white and foiled paper that I figured I can layer up here. I didn't like how the green scrap of the frame was kind of blending into the green of the background paper. So by pulling in this piece here, it pulls in the paper that's the horizontal scallopy border into another part of the page. But I didn't like how blocky it looked again, so I just went ahead and cut it with a notebook edge punch. I'm trying to use this punch. I love this punch anyways. It's one of my favorite punches. I love it. Kelly sent it to me and I use it all the time. But all of these layouts that are going backwards chronologically when I'm in school, I just want to try and use the notebook edge punch a lot just because it's school. So even though this is a club activity and it's horse related, I thought it would be really nice to get that edge on there as well, just because it reminds me that it's when I was in school and I like it. So yeah, I like that piece for several reasons, and then I thought maybe I could pull in this other piece that again was more white and rose gold foil just to emphasize that since I'm introducing more of it. And then I also liked this peachy scrap here because it pulls in more colors from that multicolor piece that's framing the corners of the photo, but then also emphasizes colors I've already introduced in the solids. So I'm adding that as another layer horizontally just on the edges of my double page, just for another pop and another layer. But yeah, there's a whole pile of cut aparts that I have for this collection. I'm trying to get a couple of them used up. But even if I just use one, I think I do end up using this Enjoy the Little Things. And I think that's really nice. But I don't like how it looks now where it's layered behind this yellow piece and it just sticks up kind of awkwardly. So I will end up cutting that. But first I have a green scrap that I did the scallop border punch on again, just to create another layer down there. So I like that addition too. And it pulls in the darker green from that tree paper into these other layers because there's not really any other green. But I trimmed that down a little bit so it lines up better with that yellow. I just didn't like how that pocket card was sticking up awkwardly. But I felt like I did need to round it off a little bit because everything is very square still. And so I'm just popping a doily there. And then I feel like I want to create a little cluster on that yellow scrap because it's looking very empty. And I feel like I need to connect this Enjoy the Little Things into my photos because they're just sticking out there awkwardly. So if I can create a cluster that branches out from the left of those photos, I think it'll make more sense. But I just added a piece of a doily on both sides, so again that's balanced, and everything I do to one side I kind of want to do to the other just so it all looks like it belongs. And then I decided to go in with my title. These are old. I got them at a consignment sale, and who knows when that person bought them. But they are yellow foam. I think they're American Crafts. Let me look. I have them right here. They are thickers from American Crafts called Sunny, and they're glitter foam letter stickers, and I love them. And so I figured, hey, I wanted yellow on this page. I had enough to spell out Bulldog. I didn't have enough to spell out anything else. I really wanted to call this the annual Bulldog Classic because that's what our horse show is called. But I figured if I could at least spell out Bulldog, I have the yellow, and that's a pop. And if I did like maybe a smaller white alphabet for the other two words, the Bulldog will really pop out, but maybe I can complete my title that way. But lo and behold, I have these adorable tiny little white foam alphabets, so I decided to use those for the rest of the title, and that worked out really well. I thought about having classic down right along the top of the photos, but those letters are so tiny you lose them on that multicolored paper. It's really hard to read the classic. So I'm getting the annual up in front of the Bulldog, and then once I put those above the pattern papers on for the annual, I moved the classic up above that side's pattern papers. I don't even know if that makes sense, but you can read it a lot better now. So now it reads Annual Bulldog Classic, and I kind of like how the title trickles down on that diagonal like that, but it's still sitting on all of the layers, so that way it's titled. I got the yellow used, and I got the name of the show on here. So title's down. And so what I decided to do for my little cluster issue is use another scrap and just cut it into a tag using a tag I already had from my stash. I really like doing that. Now that I have these little hole reinforcers that you guys sent me, I really like making my own tags from pattern paper that I have a scrap of and just turning it into a custom tag for a particular collection. And I loved this one. It pulled in more greens but also had all the other colors from the layout represented, and I think that's just the perfect tag for this layout. It helps fill in that yellow pattern paper that was looking very empty, and I really feel like adding this glassine bag behind it just branches out this cluster and these pattern papers to this Enjoy the Little Things, so it doesn't feel like it's just hanging out there on the edge by itself. So I think that whole area just looks better now. So I'm going to go ahead and glue those two bits down. I like that addition. And I think my layers are done after this, but I need some form of embellishment. So I dig through my stash to try and find stuff, and I did find I think they're Amy Tangerine, super cute little, they look kind of like coins, but they're not, but they're little mini metallic tags that have little sentiments stamped in them, and they're so cute. And I thought I already had a metallic shine on here. While the coins look gold, the stamped part of the coin looks rose gold, so it does complement the foil that's already on the page. But really quickly, I'm just going through because they're all tags. They all have holes on them, so I feel compelled to tie twine through all of them. So I just did that really quick. But I got that whole pack on the page. There were 6 that came in it. I had 5 left. And I just put all of them on the page. So another thing I got out of my stash, I'm very happy about that. And then I'm just doing a little bit of journaling on the bottom of this yellow here. It says Horsemen's Association hosted a horse show benefiting GERL. Big success with a couple hearts. Just so that's documented. But here are the close-ups. Thank you guys so much for watching. Glad I got another double page done. Glad I got some more stash used. So stay tuned for the next one. Thank you guys so much for watching. Bye.